Hello friends, welcome back to a tournament report. I will do more battle reports at some point, but I went to a tournament, so here's a tournament report. And the tournament I went to was actually Stane of Blood. Stane is an old-fashioned name for road, I think, and there's a road near. I don't know, you'd have to ask Matt G, who runs them. Lovely, lovely Matt G, a very good friend of mine. These are his tournaments, so it's a 1995 tournament, and yeah. I bought Goblins, my new Goblin army, although actually it's Gungans. At some point, I will do a video about how I've made an army of Gungans. If you've been on Kings of War Fanatics, you would have seen it. But you will see a lot of these models, hopefully. So it's just a bit of a laugh. If you hate people taking silly armies, this is definitely not the tournament report for you, but this is my list. So I have 2 hordes of rabble. I have 2 regiments of Luggit Gan. One had Blessing of the Gods and one had Fire Oil, which actually came into play later on in the tournament. We had a horde of Grogger's Lug Lads, so they're kind of they're Luggit Gang but in a horde with extra attacks. A Mincer Mob regiment with Boots of Striding, 2 big rock throwers, a king, who's Boss Naz, the figure, Boss Naz from Star Wars, and he's got the Sacred Horn and the Jareth's Pendant for the aura, 2 Bangets, 1 Wiz, who is a Darth Jar Jar, real thing. He's got the Inspiring Talisman and Bane Chant on top of his native Lightning Bot, and then the Bang Sticks formation because it's too fun to not run. And it's all Gungans. It's fine, trust me. And so game 1 was against a chap called Jake. Jake was actually the tournament organizer, so this is Matt's tournament, but he wanted to play or something. Anyway, so Jake wanted to run it, so he did, but then someone dropped out, so he had to play as well, poor guy. And he was playing an army he'd never played before, because it was the ringer list, and it's actually Matt's army. So, you with me? Good. This is the list. So the army is, and by the way, this is one of the most beautiful armies you will ever see. It won Best Painted at Clash of Kings last year. It is incredible, so delight to play it. A little bit relieved I wasn't playing Matt with it, because Matt's evil, just say. Not that Jake was a pushover by any means, as you will see. So we have 2 hordes of scarecrows, a horde of bloodworms with Blessing of the Gods. Why not a legion? I'm just saying. People often take a legion with sharpness, but I think a horde with Blessing of the Gods is still pretty terrifying. 2 troops of Reapers, the newly downgraded Reapers, but I think still very good, frankly. 2 troops of Phantoms, so they flying, nimble, stealthy guys. Everything's stealthy, of course. A horde of Butchers, just the 1 regiment of Soul Flayers with Boots of Striding. A Planar Apparition, a Horror with the Vicious Aura. Ezenishra, the Wailing Shadow, who's like a special shade. 5 attacks. Crush 3, though. Wow. A Butcher Flesh Ripper, which is a large infantry hero with 5 attacks. And a Dreadfiend, who's a large cavalry hero who's got blade slashing. Right. So, this is our board. So, we have... this is hill, height 3. These are difficult terrain. Oh, there's another hill over here. I think we said they were flat. Or 0. Can't remember. I think it's 0. Height 6. Blocking terrain. And then forest, height 6 as well. And then a couple of walls. Alright, and we were playing push. With 3 tokens each and 1 in the middle. So, this is how we deployed. So, Jake deployed. So he deployed these scarecrows on the left. And I immediately thought he's going to put his tokens there. And behind them, these are his Soul Flayers. This one is the Butcher Flesh Ripper, large infantry. This one over here is the Dreadfiend, which is a snooker table. And the reason is his army has a beautiful display board, which is like a haunted house, and all these kind of come out of the haunted house. You'll see them up close in a moment. These guys are what are they called? The flying guys. Oh dear, I promised myself that I would remember what things were called. Phantoms. These guys are flying phantoms, and so are these ones over here. Then, these ones are the Reapers. Okay, the Horror is here. It's another Scarecrow, Butchers, Planar Apparition, Ezenishra. Okay, and then, so facing up against that, so I knew his token's going here, but as I talked about before on this channel, when I play push, I ignore my opponent's tokens and play for the one in the middle, right? Which is what I'm doing here. So I have these are rabble. Blue shields are rabble. Okay, green shields are luggets. You'll see them up close in a minute. So these are 2 hordes of rabble. Lugget gang. The big mushroom is elite. This is the lug lads. This is the formation. 2 regiments and a king. 2 rock lobbers here. And then we have 2 bangets, the king, and somewhere, I think probably here under this thing is Darth Jar Jar. So let's look at his army because it's so pretty. Oh my gosh. Talk about beautiful, right? Just so clever. This one's coming out of the toilet. That's hilarious. Bloodworms, phantoms, it's all mantic, 100% mantic. Even the pool table is mantic. It's all mantic terrain as well. They all got like chef's hats. Ridiculous. Unbelievable. Look, a chest of drawers. Incredible. The artistry. Wow. But yeah, so we talk about that. And there's Eshanishra and the other phantoms. And here's my guys. So green is, as you can see, these are luggets. These are all 3D printed, by the way. And they're very brittle. There's Jar Jar hiding in the woods. There's Darth Jar Jar. These guys are rabble with the blue shields. And the slightly more expensive sculpts are Lugget Gang. This is, actually, if you want to know what that's called, I can't remember. What is it called? No, it's gone out of my head. But they're the things that carry the shield generators, which you can see the shield generator, right? Anyway. There's that. There's Boss Nass, who's the king. There's the Luggets, who are the boomer throwers. Fambar. They're called a Fambar. Anyway. Yep, there's another Lugget gang. There's the Rabble. And then here are the Groggers Lugger lads. I did swampy bases because they're in the swamp, aren't they? Come out quite nice. And over here we have, so these, I can't remember what these mounts are called. I don't think I ever knew what these mounts are called. But these are my my bang sticks. There's the bang stick king. And these are my rock lobbers, whatever they're called, chucking things. But these are actually, I made them out of green stuff because you can't get these models. So I'm quite pleased with those as well. So there you go, that's my army. We'll do a proper one at some point. And so as predicted, all 3 tokens went on the Scarecrow. So I put all mine on my big Mincer mob in the middle there. Because why not? And I lost turn 1. So Jake pushes forward as you would. So the Phantoms have come forward quite far. These dice are just denoting how far I can charge. And he's brought the Soul Flares down the flank with these Scarecrows. Got the token. Holding his Bloodworms back, as you would, and everything is just outside charge range, so inviting himself to be shot, but he's all stealthy, so I guess he just doesn't care. So, I'd never really played this army. I played this army once before, so I just decided to play everything as chaff, because that's what you're supposed to do with Goblins. So I decided to give him charges with these guys, but not with these guys, because they're actually scary. Alright, so he can charge my Rabble all he likes with those. This is a mistake. You can see the mistake if you are... I haven't played for a little while. It's my fault. These guys fly. There's a lovely straight line just down here. And if I'd measured properly, I could have had this Mincer mob 1 inch backwards and he wouldn't have been able to go 20 and land. As it is, he can go 20 and land and turn. So there you go. Always measure flight distances, my friends. Always. And over here, I decided that I'm not very scared of this because it's only 15 attacks. I've got a lot of stuff here. And yeah, and so I've got 1 regiment back here. I've decided to potentially sacrifice 1 regiment. I've got my king here so that I can strike back if they do come in. We'll see how that goes. And then, so that's just some lightning bolt from Jar Jar onto the Soul Flares for 1 damage. But my catapults did marvellously and did 3 points damage against these butchers. On to turn 2. So he takes the bait, which is good, I guess. And I was thinking, really, I'm thinking, you know, do they hit on 3s or 4s? I can't really remember, but it's going to be 4 or 5 damage. They're inspired. Should be all right, he says, hopefully. God, that's quite nice, isn't it? These guys, as I said, they flew over and pivoted, which is irritating, but I have got a lot of shooting, so we'll see what that can do. No idea where those models are from, by the way. Kind of cool. And then he simply sends his Dreadfiend into my rabble to hold them up, which I guess is a thing. It's probably quite good because on the left-hand side you can see he's put the Soul Flayers ready for a nice unhindered flank if he can get it. And he's just holding back here saying, go on in, go on in, go on in, go on in, go on in. And then he heals all the damage off them anyway. So, to me. There you go. Even worse, he rolled terribly. The first rolls he rolled absolutely appallingly. Only 3 damage, which is great for me. And off we go. So, 4 damage from the Dreadfiend. Not Dreadfiend. Butcher Flesh Ripper. Now onto those rabble, but they don't really care. By the way, if you're going to do these bases, I advise you not to have the idea of a river flowing from one to the other because it's very hard because all the resin pours off the base all the time. Lessons learned. So, I had a little bit of an umming and ahhing and spent quite a few minutes of my clock deciding whether to flank with the Mincer Mob onto the Dreadfiend to finish it off because I worked out there was no way for me to reposition that wouldn't get me charged by Bloodworms, Reapers, and possibly Scarecrows as well. The reason I went for it in the end is because it does put my Mincer Mob, with the tokens, don't forget, out of the line of sight of these Phantoms. Okay. And the new rules meant that I could do it by shuffling along the rabble, so that's good. The other rabble come up on the hill, and then I do a long wild charge here, so I think I rolled I think I just needed a 2 to get a flank onto these Reapers. Now, he did do that on purpose. He said, you've got a flank there. And so I took it. I think he's possibly overestimating the power of Butchers, because they do hit on 4s. Against a Horde, that's going to take 2 rounds to take them off. And then I've got these guys in the back, so what I want to do is kill these guys and then reform so he can't flank them, theoretically. I've got these guys facing here. He can rear charge these, but then he's going to get charged by Luggets. And I've left my king here because I wanted him to be in inspiring range of these guys. He can also charge the king. I think that would be a mistake because he's not going to kill him. Not with 10 attacks, hindered. So I've got my Luggets here to bomb them. Jar Jar here to bomb them. I've got these guys ready for these Soul Flayers. And then so I use my king in the flank, which means that these guys can charge in here unhindered. These guys counter-charging. But these guys counter-charge Essenishra, and these guys counter-charge the Phantoms. And then I continue to shoot Butchers with my catapults. Unfortunately, I do not roll very well. I was hoping to take these guys off. They have got a low nerve. However, I don't roll well. I do 4 points of damage, but my nerve roll is a 6, as you can see, which does not kill them. We do, however, murder everything over here at great cost to myself. So bang sticks, of course, when you roll 6s, you do damage to yourself. You can see I'm already pretty knackered, but I have cleared them off. Anyway, I did do some damage here, but I killed the Reapers that were here with these Lug Lads and reform as a kind of not real. I'm going to pretend I planned it. I didn't actually. It's just coincidence. Coincidence and luck. And we kill here as well, reforming thusly. So there are now lots of charges available. There is a flank available for the Phantoms, for these Scarecrows. It's hindered. I don't care because Scarecrows aren't that great on their own. Multiple hordes very good, but there you go. And lots of other charges available. So let's see how he does. There is a nasty flank which he could take, but then he's going to get Luggeted. So let's see. And that's how we look. As we head into turn 3. So, he does not charge with the Soul Flayers. He holds them back and instead just takes the Reapers into the flank, which is probably enough to take off that Horde. Let's see. Dreadfiend comes up, especially with Dread. He takes the Bloodworms into the Mincer Mob. But it's hindered, which is good for me because I think now they're hitting on 5s now, which means they definitely won't kill it in 1, or definitely, but a high probability they won't kill it in 1, in my opinion. And the Scarecrows take a hindered charge into Rabble. Scarecrows versus Rabble, it's really a legendary match for the ages. He takes the charge into the King, which is my least preference, I guess. But even so now, he's got damaged Phantoms and a lot of shooting coming next turn, even if he kills the King. So that's healing, so they healed all of their wounds back again, apart from 1. but only 9 damage onto them when we survive. That's what I thought would happen, so I was quite pleased. 4 damage there, so Hindered Scarecrow's done good, but they're still okay. There's Rabble. 5 damage from the Hindered Bloodworms, and we are alright still, so that's good. But obviously the Rabble do die from a Reaper flank, who then he overruns with massively, a huge 6-inch overrun. So they are going to get smushed by Luggets. And only a Waver, 2 wounds and a Waver on the King, which is not great, but he has got Jareth's Pendant. Let's see if I make my Headstrong roll. Right, and so yes, onto my turn 3. So I take the flank here, which is going to be death, hopefully. Countercharge here, countercharge here. I move these guys up along with Jar Jar because we're going to try and get rid of those phantoms. The King, I realised in looking at this again, I cheated. So he passed his headstrong roll, and then I ran him 10, it looks like. But he was, of course, in difficult terrain. So he probably only have got to about here. So, sorry, Jake, I didn't realise at the time. Then I take the, countercharge into the Butchers, and then I spotted he'd left his planar apparition within distance. I mean, these guys are so fast, it's really hard to judge, especially if you're not used to the army. So I got a nice flank with these very heavily damaged bang sticks into the planar apparition, who of course is ensnaring to the front. So that is devastating because he's been healing up a storm. Bring the King over for some elite action, and then I brought these guys these guys were over here behind the hill, so I just brought them over here ready for when these guys die to finish off the Butchers. That's my plan. And yeah, that's just the same thing again. So great. I think that's showing that I'm going to bomb them here, right? Which I do. And in fact, so, the combined power of that, and that. Just got rid of them. I managed it. Moreover, we're rid of those Reapers as well, but now I'm going to get Soul Flares. Let's see how that goes. Only 9 wounds from my Mincer Mob onto the Bloodworms. Look at how cool those are. All Mantic. That's my Luggett Gang's roll against the Butchers. They hit on 4s, I would remind you. So, affects the damage roll, possibly. I don't know, whatever. I think it was damage roll. I double won it anyway. So, yeah, that would be the damage roll because it's 4 damage, isn't it? Is it 4 damage? Even with the Bane Chant? Did I get Bane Chant off? Probably not. Maybe I did. No, that would be not. I don't know what happened. Anyway, but that is shocking. How many dice is that? Let's bore you by counting. 4, 8, 12, 16. That's only 20 dice. So that is one of the Luggets. This one? Maybe? No, surely not, because I killed them. The other one didn't attack. Maybe I didn't roll enough dice. That's 20 dice anyway, so I've rolled 20 dice. They should have rolled 30 dice anyway. I've just done myself in like a fool. They only got 4 wounds. And then I double won it as well. Just to really rub salt into that wound there. However, the Bang Sticks, who so many wounds now, we did kill the planar apparition. They did 28 attacks. Oh, what's that showing you? Oh, it's turn 4. Great. On to turn 4. So these Scarecrows with their tokens are just wandering down here. He takes the charge here, and I missed this Dread Fiend in the flank. That's not very nice. Didn't like that at all. Bloodworms continue to chew. So this is probably going to die this turn, unfortunately. This is going to die this turn. This is probably not going to die. That is going to die. But I've got these guys, both quite heavily wounded now. Oh, I have got these Luggets left, just hanging around in the backfield. Another lair. So, yep. Bloodworms kill Mincer Mob, take all my tokens. So now I have 0 tokens. Yep, that Luggett regiment dies on 11 wounds. Jar Jar is now a little bit terrified. However, the Scarecrows don't manage to kill the Rabble. They are wavered, but I've got Headstrongs to roll. And the Butchers do, of course, kill very nicely. The Luggett, the Lug lads, but there's 2 cavalry ready to come in and smush them up, even on your 4 wounds. So then my time is getting a little bit slow because I spent so much time pontificating. So it's my turn 5. Turn 4, 5? My turn 4, 5? Is there a shot with dice in it? 4. So that is then my turn 4, because I'm in second. So on to his turn 5. Yeah, so this is the end of my turn 4, right? End of my turn 4. So apologies for not taking very good pictures. Why is Jar Jar still standing here then? I think I just left him there. Just say, go on then. Charge me with your soul flayers. So we send the Luggets and these horses in hindered flank into the bloodworms. I smash them to death. Look how many wounds they're on. We're on 17 wounds now. 17. I've devastated myself, but I did get the token, so there's that. And we don't kill the Scarecrow, so they are on 11 wounds now, though. And so we're ready to bring these guys in and hopefully take those. Soul Flayers are fine. Yeah. 7 wounds there. So what did they kill? They killed the Butchers, right? So these two killed the Butchers together, putting myself up to 7 wounds on them. That's just shooting, but 5 wounds. So his turn 5 then, I guess? Yeah, his turn 5. So the Dreadfiend turns around. Soul Flayers into this rabble, because there's a token under here. Which is the critical token, actually. So that token really determines who wins the game. Yep. He did consider putting the Horror into my cavalry, but decided against it because one hindered attack is probably not going to get them. But that one wound, and one thing we identify his list really lacks is there's nothing, no nibble damage, there's no shooting, there's no nothing that you could do. This unit, despite being on 17 wounds and having all my tokens, is untouchable. So the Horror just decides to run. And then I die, so the rabble dies. And he turns like, yay. However, I have got so much fast stuff. So, my turn 5 then, the Luggets take out the Dreadfiend. So nothing is now worrying me. I think I try and kill off this Horror with these guys, but I can't roll 6s at that moment. We take, yeah, so these guys then come into the rear of the Scarecrows because there was a choice of, which flank or rear do I take? Well, I think they've turned them. Maybe they turned them around. I don't know if he did or not. But I crushed them into tiny pieces anyway and stole their token. And the other cavalry came over and killed the Soul Flayers. And at that point, I am pretty much off scot-free. So I don't think I attacked with these guys, actually. Maybe I just took the token. I don't know. Yeah, I think they had the token. Did they have the token? Maybe not. I clearly have attacked them, but I haven't taken any more wounds. Weird, maybe I didn't roll 6s. But at that point, it hits turn 6. I've got 4 seconds left on the clock, and unfortunately there's nothing he can do because all he's got is Scarecrows and a Horror, and everything else I have managed to kill right at the last minute. Last minute, turn 5. So Jake, he played very well considering he's never played the army before. It's a nice little fun test against a stealthy army with my very first game. But yeah, it's a good victory. I think 22 points out of a maximum 24. And we cracked into game 2. Okay, we are into game 2. So game 2 put me up against Max with his Ogres with Elf allies. Now I have played Max before. I cannot remember which tournament it was at. And he played then Ogres with Elf allies. And he had chariots and stuff, and he had an allied horde of Drakon Riders. Sorry, an allied regiment of Drakon Riders and the Lord on Drakon. And I managed to win that one quite convincingly, so I came into this feeling confident. And this was his list. So he had... by the way, Max is just the nicest, most lovely man. He's just awesome. He's incredibly... distressingly fashionable. He has a horde of shooters, 2 regiments of warriors, 2 hordes of siege breakers, one with a chalice of wrath and one with a staying stone, a crocodog wrangler. So this is the special monster that can run through other ogre units, and his duelist. 2 sergeants with heavy crossbows, 2 warlocks, one with drain life and the conjurer's staff, and one just vanilla. And then a horde of Drakon riders. So his regiment's gone up to a horde and the Lord on Drakon. So not dissimilar, but he basically dropped all the chariots for sergeants and warlocks. So for much more shooting, it's much more mixed arms list. So we were playing Salt the Earth with 7 tokens. Before we come on to that, let's do this. The terrain. So big hill in the middle, hill on the edge. We have 2 pieces of, we treat them as, we didn't actually talk about heights, but let's say height 6. Height 3 hills. There's 2, let's say height flat. We didn't talk about that either. 2 forests here, and there's 2 walls here, right? So Salt the Earth is a scenario where, accepting the center token, this one is unburnable. You can burn any token you control any turn at the end of your turn. So at the end of your turn, as long as you control the token, you can burn them. So you put them down first, then you choose sides. So we put down the tokens. I got the choice of sides, and I chose this side because we have 4 tokens on this side. So I thought I will take the one with the most tokens because it gives me the most chance to control the tokens. And this is how we deployed. So, right. So I went, how to talk about this. So let's say these are siege breakers. These are siege breakers. This, as you can see, nicely Chalice of Wrath. So that will be the one with whatever the other thing was. Oh, Stane. These are the 2 regiments. We have warlocks. So I think this warlock is the one with the Conjurer's Staff. This warlock is the one who doesn't. That's the Crocodog Wrangler. We've got both sergeants and the shooters over here. Oh, there's an extra character. What's the extra character? What have I forgotten? Sergeant, Crocodog, Warlock. Sergeant. Oh, that's one of the shooters. My bad. Sergeant, Crocodog, Warlocks. Right, there's the Dracon. There's the Dracons. Right, so pretty obvious what's what, right? So I put down here, so these are both my rabble hordes. Because what I'm worried about with this army is I need to shoot off some siege breakers early. Right? And I need to get across to the shooters to get rid of them. And then Dracon Riders I'm going to have to try and bomb off when they come over the back of my lines. Right? So that's the plan. And then, so we have, these are rabble. These are the, you can see a shield come off there, put it on top of the mushroom. These are one of the Luggets. This is the other Lugget. This one is elite. We have both of the Bangits here. That's the king. Down here are my war engines. These is the Lug lads. There's my mincer. And over here is my formation all together. And my thought is this. So I'm going to trundle forward here. I'm going to be bombing them constantly. So I waited to put my war engines down until he had enough of the siege breakers down for me not to care. Plus Dracon Riders are here. So I've got a great line of sight on everything I want to be shooting with my war engines. I'm going to trundle them forward. I'm going to sop them up into rabble. And then I'm going to bomb off the rest of them. Meanwhile, on the left-hand side, his shooters, I'm hoping, will take on the Lug lads to allow my mince mob to eventually come through and charge. The mince mob can also come around this way if needs be. And then I've got enough, if he chooses to shoot my formation, because that would be sensible, it's fast enough so he can shoot one of them, and the other one can then come into stuff and start chewing them up. Right? That's the plan. Let's see how I do. So, here's Max's lovely Ogres, and here's my Gungans. still chuckling. So childish. So I win turn 1, which is great. And I move thusly. So I've gone pretty heavy on the left. You'll see I've managed to get this regiment all the way. I've gone 20 and then turned. You see this arc template, which means that I'm out of line of sight so nothing can see me. So that's a great place to be. Everything else is pushed forward as planned. So my first round of shooting is spectacular. I rolled an unbelievable number of 6s to the point where Max was like, what dice are you using? Excuse me. So 6 damage onto that Siegebreaker horde, so it's going very well. I am very pleased. And that is how it looks down that end. So live action dice rolling shot there. There's not a lot else went on because I didn't have a lot more shooting, so Max just pushes everything forward. Dracon Riders facing this way, which is what I hoped for. I didn't want them facing that way because then they'd be wreaking havoc, but also they'd be getting away with his own shooting, so fair enough. And you can see they are out of charge range of anything. Yeah, so pretty standard move. He uses his warlocks to take lightning bolts onto my king, which is interesting. Both hindered, but he does 3 points of damage, but I'm okay. Unfortunately, the shooters... Oh, there's Jar Jar, by the way. I forgot to mention him. He's over here. He's the inspiring one for these guys, basically. And I've accidentally left him too far away. But I'm glad I left him in front of these guys. But 6 wounds from the shooters and from the sergeants onto that regiment, which is, well, you know, that's survivable, isn't it? But it's a waiver, which is very unfortunate because the king with the headstrong aura is all the way over there. On to turn 2. So I look at this and I think, right, well then, he's positioned. So this is how he positioned his ogres. Pretty cool positioning. So basically the shooters are untouchable because both the sergeants are here. So I look at this and think, well, I'm just going to have to hope that I spike, which is not a great situation to be in, is it? But I need to stop some of that shooting because these guys are deadly. And so I take the king into one, he's not going to die, and then the regiment into the other. So with elite, I will be hitting on 5, so 14 attacks on 5s with elite, thunder 1. So 5s and 3s with elite and vicious. So, and exploding. So let's hope I get some explosions. Everything else channels forward. Jar Jar remembers that he is inspiring and moves over to inspire. I've moved these guys forward because I want to see if I can get that nice flank charge and to see what he does about it. I push this rabble up onto the hill. I've got these guys nice and secure behind them. Like this. Okay, so there is enough room for the Dracons to land here on him. So that's pretty cool. I do not bother to measure this. Or possibly this. Let's see if that makes a difference. And I move the king behind a wall because, hey, yeah, he needs to be inspiring. So there we go. He's inspiring. He's going to get shot again. Another 2 damage onto the siege breakers. So it's going okay, but I cannot roll the nerve that I need to waver them, which is frustrating. And that's Jar Jar's lightning bolt onto the Dracon Lord. Here's the Croco Dog, who is wandering this way because he wants to start eating my king, which I don't want, but he looks like he's going to get in. And yeah, so this is unfortunate. So 9 wounds onto this guy, and I waver him. Oh, frustrating. I cannot roll nerve. I couldn't roll the nerve that I needed to get him off, which means that this sergeant is now going to flank them. And he does. So into Max's turn 2. Plus, I did 5 damage to myself, so we did loads of wounds. I just couldn't quite roll the nerve. And 5 damage, so there you go. And the crocodile comes over, so there you go. So he'd managed to put him within charge. He rolled a nice big wild charge. In he goes into my king. Duelist in effect. That's painful, isn't it? So off we go. And then he just decides to take what he can. So you remember I said I didn't measure? That was a bad mistake. So that was particularly bad because I allowed his Dracons to come into my rear of this, into the flank rather, into the rear of my forces. Straight into the flank of that rabble horde. With siege breakers in the front, they are going to explode into tiny goblinoid pieces. And the rabble here get siege breakered and warriored in the front. They may also explode into goblinoid pieces. However, I'm hopeful then that I can then kill off these siege breakers and then do some other stuff. So that's not catastrophic. I think this is pretty bad, but that's because I'm not good at measuring things. I just didn't bother to measure things. And he continued to shoot into these guys and wavered them again. So far, they have done nothing. Diddly and squat. Plus, he continued to lightning bolt my king. So to take up my inspiring, and he is wavered. So he survived, but wavered. And there you go. So Crocodog hindered into grass. 4 wounds, but he did manage to roll the nerve to waver the king. So that's, yeah, pretty unfortunate. And from 5 wounds, a sergeant in the flank kills the unit of fleabags, which is that's disastrous. So the left flank is going particularly poorly. So yeah, 18 wounds from all those guys. They smashed it as expected, and then overran as far as they could into everything. So both flanks now going quite badly because that also died. And he killed my rabble and then sidestepped. So now nothing I have can see the Dracons apart from my war engines. It's not going great, guys. On turn 2, it's going particularly poorly, I would say. Amongst the most poor games that I have had in terms of performance. So, hey, you know, that's life. Sometimes things happen. So having moved everything out of my charge range, I then couldn't move these guys in. So on my turn 3, there'll probably be a picture of a dice in a minute where I remember. I do what I should have done last turn and back these guys up behind the hill so they can't be shot by the shooters. Sergeants can still move up. This guy just moved back to try and get the crocodile out of the way of other stuff. And we moved up. So this Mincer Mob is going to make the slow crawl forward to try and take care of these guys and try not to get shot off in the process, whereas my Lug Lads is going to come around the rear and try to shore up the very poor performance in the centre. I look at these and I think 7 wounds on these siege breakers. I reckon I can do this. Let's go. Whereas my Bangits are here. They're going to try and bang it here. Or possibly, no, I think we're going to go for the Drakon. So this is my last ditch attempt to say, right, Drakon time. So I'm going to try and bomb them and at least waver them. Right, let's see how I do. They are inspired, so you never know. You never know. Which means while these guys take on the siege breakers, that's not a matchup I'm enjoying. The King. So the King passed his headstrong test. But he's obviously still disordered, so he can't do anything like shoot. So he decides to just try and kill a warlock for fun, because nothing else can kill him if he does that. So yeah, hindered charge onto a warlock from him. And here we go. Was that the same thing twice? That is. That's how I think he's just showing the war engines. Because if we don't waver these guys, they're going to start munching, and it's nasty. It's nasty. So there we go. That's, what am I showing there? 1 wound. Am I showing 1 wound? Yeah. So that didn't go well, did it? I had 20 attacks on 4s, and I don't think there was a Bane Chant involved. I didn't have any Bane Chant. Bane Chant is somewhere else. Where's Bane Chanter? Jar Jar, where are you? Are you dead? Can anyone see Jar Jar in this screenshot? I actually can't. It's quite terrifying. Where's he gone? Oh, I think I moved him down that way to try and join in on the Drakons rather than Bane Chant, which is, you know, there he is. There he is. He's here. He is joining the Drakons, so he's going to try and join in the Drakons. I really went last ditch to get all out on them. So yeah, my Luggets really crapped out. 1 wound. Oh man, that's poor, isn't it? And those guys did 2 wounds. So the wounding on 5s just really kills it, you know what I mean? Even if, yeah, anyway, well, there you go. And did I kill him? No, I did not. That's afterwards. What happened there? Was that 3 wounds? No, I don't think so. Maybe I did no wounds. Who knows? The King flubbed. He flubs constantly. Oh, yeah. So, wow, I got really bad. I think I got quite depressed at this point and stopped taking pictures. Stopped taking pictures at all. It looks like I did 0 wounds on the Drakons with all my shooting. That's 3 lightning bolts, 6 bangets, and 4 war engine shots. I feel a bit sad about that, I'm not going to lie, but they have no wound token on them, so I guess I did nothing. There's a counter charge there. And a counter charge there. He didn't even bother. Look at that. What? The absolute... Oh, he did do 4 wounds onto the Warlock. Did I? Doesn't feel right. Anyway, the absolute balls of the man. He's like, I can flank you with these Ogre Warriors. I'm not going to bother because the Siege Breaker is just going to kill you outright. Maybe he was feeling sorry for me. Anyway, so yeah, the Warlocks, what are they called? Sergeants came around to shoot at that regiment that's hiding behind the hill. And the Drakon Lord came in to delay my Lug Lads, while the Siege Breakers came in here. On 13 wounds? Wow, how did that happen? Did I do 13 wounds and then fail to rout them? This is as frustrating for me as it is for you, let me tell you. So it looks like I did do more wounds than 1. Let's say it was 7 to 13 is a substantial, that's 6 wounds. That feels a little bit more reasonable, doesn't it? Anyway, I didn't manage to rout them. I needed a 15, so I think I wavered them. From memory. Vague memories are trickling back into my head now. I wavered them, and they've got the Chalice of Wrath. So, screw me. They died to shooting. He got wavered by lightning bolts. I'm going to say it was lightning bolts. My king died. War engine, of course, just exploded into tiny shreds. And the other regiment died. Right, we're into turn 4 now. You will notice there's some issues with the battlefield, turn 4. My turn 4. The issues mainly being, none of my army is left. Just like... What I'm discovering with this army, as I play it, is that you need to roll well. if you do not roll well, if you have an average or below average turn, things are not going to pan out for you. Not stopping this Siegebreaker horde was pretty devastating for me, I would say. As was not rolling very well over there. So, yeah, the entire left flank has flubbed. The Mincemoth moved up. I don't think... Oh, there's looked like there was 5 wounds from 5 attacks there, which is pretty ballsy for that Drakon Lord. Onto my Lug Lads. He's chosen to just ignore my Bangettes, which is fair. And everything else is wheeled round after finishing off my entire army in 3 turns. So, the War Engine. So, Matt's forgot that my War Engine can move. So, you'll see here, he just stayed facing this way thinking he's going to be next turn. And I was like, nah, we're off, bye. And just legged it. And he was like, oh, I guess I'll spend the rest of the game chasing that War Engine then. He shot into my Mincemob with the 2 wounds from the shooters and from the Warlocks, which is poor. Very poor. Extraordinarily poor. And we killed the Drakon Lord, which is, yay, fantastic. But now he's got Siegebreakers into me, so, oh boy, I guess I'll die now instead. And so we back up as far as we can. Spoiler warning, it's not far enough. There you go. So he takes that. These guys come around to shoot. I don't know why I've got 2 wins. Maybe it's that 2 wins from before. Who knows why I've got 2 wins. It's going to be painful, the next one. Yep. So I moved my Bangettes back to try to put some wounds on here. So there's been some healing going on onto these Siegebreakers who previously were on... Let's have a look how many wounds. Oh, we can't see. Handily placed item card 2. Oh, no, we didn't do this. This is a sad story, this game. I'm not going to lie. I was trying to build it up like, oh, will I win? Won't I win? I don't win. So he decides to ignore the War Engine. He says, you know what? You've got 2 turns. 1 turn you'll be moving. The next turn you can shoot. You can have 1 turn of shooting. You crack on, buddy, because I'm going to go for max points. I'm going for these tokens. So previously... You remember, this is Salt the Earth, right? So it's an overhead shot. Where's the overhead shot? So Salt the Earth. You can burn tokens in Salt the Earth. And at several points, I've been thinking, maybe I should burn tokens right now. Namely, when this horde was over this one, when this regiment was near this one, so on and so forth. And I had this one. And when it became clear, which was around turn 3, that this was going to be a shambolic loss... I sat there and thought, well, the scoring system we're on is a positive scoring system, right? So you just get points for what you get. There is no point in me shafting Max by burning tokens, because at this point I'm going to lose. It's actually looking, this one may well be tabled. What is the point in me burning the tokens and denying him points? It's just kind of a big, 2 fingers up to him. So I thought, you know what, I'll just leave them. He can have them. He can have them, I said. Let's remember that because it becomes relevant later. So, as we were, I'm gonna breeze through this because it's not exciting. So, Siegebreakers go into the horde. Everyone shoots into the Mincemob. I think we tried to shoot here and failed. Do you kill me? I don't know. And the Drakons turn around. So there you go. Lightning bolts into one of the Bangettes. 2 wounds. He's okay. Another lightning bolt into this guy. He's still okay. What a legend. That guy is a legend. And that's some more. Shooting, I think that's shooting from someone. I think he chooses to shoot with his sergeants into Jar Jar rather than into the flank of the Mincemob, which I think was a mistake. Maybe he's being kind. Anyway, he wavered Jar Jar, which is just rude. That's a weird spot. You remember. Yeah, and the Lugget Horde just explodes into tiny, tiny shreds of just painful, embarrassing pain. And then the Siegebreakers kill the Lug Lads and face into the rear of the Mincemob. Ouch, no, thank you. And I get a charge. Yeah, this is turn 5. Didn't take a picture of the dice, too depressed. So I get a charge into them. Do I kill the shooters in one go? Well, let's guess. Of course I don't. He moves back. This guy who was wavered just turns around, offers himself a sacrifice, so we get a shot here. That's definitely going to work. And I charge into this Warlock with my absolutely immortal king. I move my War Engine round to do some shooting. Next turn. Yes, we've already shown that. That's nice. I do! Unbelievable! Absolute legend. I have got boots of striding and I do use them. And I smush them into tiny, 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 tiny shreds. And then I have to turn around and face the Siegebreakers and just kind of reluctantly, oh, there's the dice, wait for what's coming. And off he goes. So he goes right into the... I move the dinosaur is detachable. Dinosaur? Fambar is detachable to allow things like this to happen. So that's great. And his sergeant in the flank. So we're probably going to die. And he's at this point, he's getting everything onto every token. So he goes to that. And this bloody crocodile comes into Jar Jar. Hindered. Whatever. Oh, it's an arty shot. I wonder what I'm trying to show. Who knows? Oh, that's this shooting here. Pow pow! He's fine. He's not fine. So, yeah. Jar Jar's dead. Weep for Jar Jar. Mince Mob, also dead. It's turn 6. Come on, lads. I've got 1 War Engine left and 1 Bang It. And my king, who is going to kill this Warlock if it kills him. That's a picture of lots of dice. What's that for? Oh, no, I know what that is. That's me showing 8 wounds. So I put these guys up to 8 wounds, which is spectacular from 3. You've got to admit, I roll like a boss in this last turn, right? So the Bang It and the War Engine into these Siege Breakers. I'm like, that's a lot of points. I can definitely get them, right? 8 wounds. No, I can't. They're fine. I don't even roll the nerf for him. King does 2 wounds onto that guy. He's fine also. And they wave for my finally. This crocodile's like, hello, I'm coming to get you. Ooh, help me. Run away. Counter charge there from the Warlock. 7 wounds, still alive. What a legend. And we get a turn 7, which is the least thing that I would ever possibly want. Awful. Awful. I mean, what can I do? Literally nothing. So I think he backed up to Shelling. Didn't do any wounds. I think he backed up, so I decided to shoot these guys. I'm like, I'm going to get you. This is going to happen. Shooting, shooting. We're going to kill you. Final turn. Oh no. Instead, I don't, and he kills me. And I am left with a War Engine. So you see there 11 wounds. So the King and the... He's wavered, he didn't do anything. But the War Engine, we put these guys up to 11 wounds. Still couldn't roll a 6 twice to get rid of them. And in return, he shot off my King. He ate my last Bang It. And that is a very shabby loss to me. So he had all 7 tokens because as I said, why not? Just have them all, crack on. Go on, chap, feel free. And I had a single War Engine left, and there's not a lot of his army has died. So, yeah, not my greatest game. Slightly embarrassing, to be honest, to watch happen. But some of it was dice, some of it was poor positioning, allowing flanks and such. Some of it was just I think, really putting so much against these shooters, basically giving them lines of sight. I had a bloody great big building here. As soon as he put shooters up here, what I should have really been thinking of is, let's put everything on this side. So he then has to spend turns repositioning this way. And I should have just, signed off, said, okay, you can have those 3, crack on. I'll fight for these ones. That's probably what I should have done. In retrospect, anyway. Embarrassing. Let's go on to game 3. Okay, so, wincing a little from the thorough spanking I just enjoyed, I frolicked merrily into game 3 versus Tony and his Abyssal Dwarves. Tony's a newer player. I've not met him before. And he's bought his Abyssal Dwarves. And let's see. So I played a lot against Abyssal Dwarves. Slightly different from this list, the one that I normally play against. But 2 regiments of Immortal Guard. A horde of Decimators with Blessing of the Gods, which are terrifying. 2 troops of Gargoyles. 2 regiments of Abyssal Half-Breeds, one of them with the Pipes of Terror. Double Mortars. Hellfane with the Hellforged Overmaster, giving all of those dwarves Wild Charge and Brutal. An Ironcaster with Conjurer's Staff, and he's giving him Bane Charge and Heal on top of his native Fireball. And then Abyssal Half-Breed Champion to run with the Half-Breeds, who's got Mead of Madness, giving him a lovely charge distance of 17 inches. So, this is our battlefield, so you will recognise... They're very similar battlefields, right? They're kind of similarly set out-ish, I guess, kind of. We have 2 hills, this little hill and a big hill. We have 2 forests, forest. 2 rough terrain. Rough terrain, there is another one, I think under here. That's blocking. That is blocking. And 2 walls. 1 wall, 1 wall, right? So kind of similar setup to previously. We're playing control. So control is the scenario that splits the board into 6 sections, like yay. If I'm on this side of the board, this one is worth 2 to me, and everything else is worth 1, and vice versa to my opponent. Alright, let's get on with it. So this is how we deployed. So on my opponent's side, he has gone his decimators here. These are the 2... what are they called? I've already forgotten what they're called. Abyssal, Immortal Guard. This is his big Hellfane, which is great for me, because I put my war engines over here. These are the half-breeds with double gargoyles and the champion here, and there's his mortars in the back. So, against that, I have put... So, I've got a big building in the centre of my deployment. So, I've got Rebel either side. And then I've got my triple... I tried to layer a bit more this time. So, I've got triple Luggets. And then you can see I've got 1 banging either side of the building. There's Darth Jar Jar. And here's the king. So I've put the king this time, after learning from last time, a little bit closer to things that might get wavered. So you might be able to sprint over and give them headstrong. This time I've put my Mincer Mob behind the woods, just so he doesn't get mortared off, because mortars can really hurt. I have given him the chance to mortar all my formations over here. However, his half-breeds are going to be in the way, because they are height 3. So that's kind of the plan. Yeah, and I've got my war engines down here who are going to be aiming wholly for this Hellfane, because Hellfanes are terrifying. There we go. This is his little Abyssal Dwarf army he's been working on. It's pretty nice. I really like he's got a very nice skin effect on this Hellfane. You can't really see it here. Maybe you get some nice shots later. And there's my guys facing off against them. You used to think of people going to die. It's the Gungan voice there. Off we go into turn 1, which I lose. So he takes it, and he pushes forward. So we had a bit of a chat. So he's not played against goblins before. And so he put these gargoyles... He did put them a bit further forward on the hill, because he said, how far do these guys move? And I said, how far do these guys move, charge? And I said 10. And he took that as a charge distance of 10. So anyway, he moved them back in the end. That's fine. Sorry, so we had a chat. I apologise for being unclear. So these guys are out of 20. I think these guys are in 20 here, and he said that's fine. These guys are out. Well, they're in 20, but I can't see them because of the hill. These guys were out. Right, everything else just trundles forward because they're dwarves and they're super slow. Why have you got 3 points of damage? Have I shot you? Have I gone straight into my turn? I have. So in my turn, which I've not taken a picture of because I suck at battle reports. What have I done? I think I just shot. Oh, do you know what? I shot the gargoyles. So on my turn, in response, I shot the gargoyles. With, I'm going to say, lightning bolts. 3 points of damage from lightning bolts. Yes. That would be Jar Jar. Where's my deployment? Sorry about this. I really should look at these before I just start wanging on. So obviously move forward. Well, Jar Jar's over here. It's not going to be lightning bolts, is it? Have I cheated? Or have I moved this guy up? Yeah, and I think it's an 18-inch bow shot. Is what it is. And from the king. So I've got 2 kings, even like a king on a horse as well. So double king on a horse. Have shot off gargoyles. There you go. Didn't cheat after all. Everything's fine. Move on. However, my war engines absolutely smashed it. 6 wounds against the Hellfane. They've been brilliant. And I think that's... who knows? That's Jar Jar. Lightning bolt. Anyway, so then he looks at the board and thinks, all right, fine. I'm going to have you. And he puts both of his little half-breeds hindered because, if you'll notice, they are both sitting here in this puddle. And he puts them both into this horde. And I looked at that and I thought, I think that's, half-half, whether he's going to take them off. Was it 16 or 14 attacks on a half-breed? Hindered? I think you're pushing it. You're pushing it. When they're inspired, we'll see. They've got brutal. And then he has just kind of moved off here, so just kind of move these guys around. It's a nice threat for the flanks and such. I think he's hoping smash these guys off and then face this way, possibly, or run over. And he healed up a bunch of those wounds. It's pretty cool. And he shot with his... He finally got his mortar. First turn, he couldn't get his mortars in because, like I said, the half-breeds... Let's go back and have a look. Half-breeds are in this puddle, and you can see the mortars have absolutely no line of sight. So one of them had a line of sight down here, and it missed on the first turn. Second turn, however, they were much more effective, and they, once again, wavered one of my bang sticks, which is, you know, a thing. And there you go. So he did 12 wounds with those harpies. He did not roll well at all onto this rabble horde. He wavered them, and that's going to be pretty devastating for him because then, so on turn 2, I take my Boots of Striding Mince Mob into the flank of those guys. I take our Luggit Regiment into the flank of those guys. I look at these gargoyles and decide I don't care about them. I do care about Abyssal Half-Breed Hero. So I take the King and the unwavered Bang Six into them. And then hopefully into the War Engines. And then I move around. So I decide, you want to shoot my rebel? Shoot my rebel. You crack on. You crack on because I've got a horde waiting here in the back. And I've got my bang sticks. Bang sticks? No. What are they called? Boomers. Lobbers. Bangits. There you go. Bangits. Who are going to try and finish off this Hellfane. And I don't manage it. So even the War Engines. So I think the Bangits go into the Immortal Guard for 4 damage. And then the Hellfane's up to 7 again. Oh. So my my Mincing Mob does 12 wounds onto these. Actually, no, I think it was a lot more than that, I think. Because I also put the Luggit. So these guys went into this. Right, so there was a lot of charging. So I put Luggits and the Mince Mob into these guys. I know now, I think it was 27 wounds. And I double won it. That's pretty fun. He was very happy. And we flanked into this one. I think that one explodes. I get that one, and I turn around. Basically, I use this. I don't really want to, but I use this Luggit Regiment as chaff. We do kill the Half-Breed Hero, and we overrun. So there's only one War Engine got line of sight now. The other one hasn't, so that's good for me. And I move. So I think this is now his turn 4. Because I'd moved these guys back into the wood. So in his turn 4, he just shoots these guys down the flank, which is fair. Just outside of my line of sight. And he takes the Immortal Guard off the hill into this Mince Mob. He regens. Look at that. 27 down to 11. He regens 16 of the wounds I've done to him. It's just gross. He was very happy. Into these guys, the Hellfane, and then come off the base there, but he's gone into the rabble to finish them off, because they're all in 12 wounds. And then he is going to... Oh, is that after? Yeah, so that's the shooting. So he shoots here. My guys are on a hill, unhindered, 7 wounds. Ouch, but we're okay. These Immortal Guard come into this rabble. I thought he was going to shoot the rabble, so, you know. He kills those rabble, which is fair enough. Why wouldn't you? And overruns. I've got a horde waiting to deal with you, Mr. Hellfane boy. The countercharge from these Abyssal Half-Breeds kills the Luggits in front of them, which was very distressing for me, I've got to say. 5 wounds there from those Immortal Guards, so that rabble is feeling good. Is that no wounds? Surely some mistake. I think it's no wounds. I think he fails to wound by the look of that, which is poor. Extremely poor. There you go. Defense 6, yay. Yay. So, I countercharge there. Oh, what happened with this thing here? Does he not kill my rabble? Surely he does. Oh, no. I'm sorry. He definitely did, didn't we? Already saw that. So, the Bangits come around here. And then this is my Lug Lads coming into the Hellfane. Right? Countercharge here. And we take these 7 wounds Luggits that were here into the... whatever they're called, shooty dwarfs. I've forgotten the name of them already. Because I am going to die, and it's not going to kill them, but I am going to hold them up and stop them shooting for a turn, which is good. I've got Jar Jar to do some Bane chanting for them, and these guys are going to bomb off the Half-Breeds. That's the plan. So yeah, I've already shown you that. So the Hellfane goes to 5 wounds, which is not great. but it's the best you can do. Oh, hello. No way. Oh no, I had 30 attacks on 4s and 5s. Impressive. Kill them. Oh no. Right. So, okay, it wasn't 5 wounds and then rolled them off. That's not possible, is it? These are the Bangits who have obliterated this unit, which is obviously no longer here, and there's all their wounds, so they died a death. Then the Hellfane also died, so we rolled very well there. The Immortal Guard from these rabble went up to 3 wounds, they're okay. 6 wounds there, they're okay. And then on to turn 5. So the Gargoyles come down here. You're going to get shot, little Mrs. Gargoyles. Turn 4, 5, 4, 5, 4, 5, don't know. So we didn't roll very well here, did we? 5 wounds on those Immortal Guards, so they countercharged. There's some healing, back up to 2. That's just another photo, lovely, good job on me. So, Mortal Guard, these guys are now up to 11 wounds. Is that a waiver? No, I don't think it's a waiver. Maybe it is, who knows. And they countercharged there, so I only did 3 wounds for my hindered Luggets. They countercharged, killed them, which is poor. So I turned around, I shoot this Gargoyle Regiment. And I waver them, which is fine. And now we are feeling in quite a dominant... Whoa there! Quite a dominant position. And at that point, he actually resigned. Yeah. So I moved my... what's it called? Bang Sticks Regiment over here because there's nothing left. Oh, I didn't... So I'm sorry, I didn't take any pictures of it. But basically, the Bang Sticks that were up here, just basically he'd gone up. The King had gone into one war engine and the Bang Sticks had gone to the other. So he just took off both mortars. So he lost all his shooting. Right? So he'd lost all his shooting and then I charged into the rear of the shooty dwarfs here and killed them with the Bang Stick unit. He was on an obscene number. He was on 14 wounds now, but there's nothing he could do about it. He actually could have probably fireballed them with this, but he didn't quite have enough juice in the tank, I think. That would have been a smart move. We killed the Immortal Guard here. We killed whatever was left. I can't remember what was left there. What was left there? Remember? Oh, right, these Immortal Guard. No. Yeah, so we killed the Hellfane and then, right, into the flank of the Immortal Guard there and killed them off as well. So by this point, turn 5, end of turn 4, 5, he looks at the table, bless him. He looked very crestfallen. Probably looked like I looked in the last game against Matt, let's face it. Yeah, well, I've only got 1 unit left and it's going to die, so I might as well resign and just save ourselves the time. And I was like, oh, all right, that's probably fair. That's probably fair. I think, you know, committing with those Abyssal half-breeds early was probably not the right choice. I did have a fair bit of shooting, so, you know, what else is there to do? So, yeah, at that point, it's reasonably dominant, and I could go on to claim, you know, all 6 of the quarters with the stuff that I had. 6 quarters? 6 sections with the stuff that I had left. Yeah, so I ended up with a 24, which is a max points victory. So I had 22, 20, and then a 6 for the second one, and a 24. And I think I ended up 6th. Right, in this, it was 24-person tournament. So I ended up 6th, which is pretty good. I had 2 strong victories. Max, who I played in game 2, and do you remember? I said it would be important to remember that I didn't bother burning any of the tokens because why would I do that? I just give him the points. You know, it seems like a nice thing to do. Seems like a sporting thing to do. Give him the points. Don't take them from him. He won by 2 points. He beat me by 2. So he won. So he came 5th by 2 points when I came 6th. Right. And I had the opportunity to burn at least 3 tokens in that game that I chose not to. So I actually lost a place in this rankings by being nice. Is that important? No. It's not even a little bit important. But I just thought it was pretty funny. He thought it was pretty funny too. But anyway, and I also won Best Army. And at this point, I'd like to publicly mock my friend Matt, who ran this tournament, for still saying 2022 on my certificate, and also not decapitalising one of the letters of his certificate. But I did win this. Cool, look at this picture. Now, this artist is relatively famous. I'm terribly sorry I can't remember his name, but this is a hand-drawn piece of art of a dwarf painting a miniature. How cool is that? As a prize, it's sitting pride of place on my painting desk, above my painting desk right now. That was an amazing prize. I was really pleased, and people were very kind to vote for me as Best Army, given that I bought Gungans. I thought that was incredible. Given, you know, that I bought Gungans. Let's have a look at some of the armies. So first off, you're going to have to indulge me with a little view of my backdrop. Oh, I'm such a child. These are my Gungans. This is the war engine. You can see that the print is a very poor quality print. I did the best I could with the paint job to hide it. But here's some of the characters. So I'm such a tryhard. I hand blended. Actually, this is a poor shot of the shields, but I hand blended all of these shields. It took me a long time. I'm going to lie, way longer than I planned. There's some of the characters. Well, these terrible photos are pretty terrible close up, aren't they? Maybe I should learn to take pictures better. I had plans to do all sorts of OSL, like glows from the lightsabers, glow from the big balls. Never got around to it. I might do it at some point. We'll see. Oh, that's a slightly better photograph, I guess, of the ones in front. But yeah, these are slightly nicer sculpts. These are my mounted guys, my bang sticks. Anyway, yeah, silly Gungans. This is a very nice Brother Mark army, Mike Smith's Brother Marks. This was, did I tell you, I mentioned that in game 1, halfway through game 1, the table next to us collapsed and all the army just smashed on the floor. It was horrific. And this is one of the armies that was on that table, but this one actually, most of them survived. I think one unit just fell down. This is the army that smashed into tiny pieces, and then he spent lunchtime gluing it back onto its bases. This is Chris's army. Chris is the new UK master as of today, recording this. But all these kind of old-fashioned, are they old-fashioned? I don't know anything about Warhammer. And they just all broke off the base and they just needed gluing back on. Pretty cool army though, isn't it? Pretty, very nice. This is going to be, I'm going to say this is Richard Laking army, his rats, but I can tell you his because it's got 4 hordes of nightmares, which is vile. The worst fight. Great player. He's a superb player. Superb. This would be Danny's Abyssals, I want to say. I'm scared about saying that because it might not be his now. Is it even Abyssals? Well, anyway, there's a nice army. I don't know what it is. I should have taken a picture with the nameplate in it. Here is a Nightstalker army. Very nice. Pretty cool. Like that. Oh, this is the back of someone's eye. I think someone didn't bother putting it out for painting. I still think it's pretty nice, though. It's got a legion of zombies. You've got to admire a legion of zombies. Love a legion of zombies. This is Eddie Barr, who writes a blog called The Wizard's Bookshelf. This is his Ratkin, which I like a lot. Here's the inimitable Andy from Moonrakers. Another beautiful army, really beautiful. And these ones are his halflings. He has many armies, and many of them are beautiful. No display board, though. It's like he's not even trying. Another goblin army. It's nice to see more goblins. Lots of hordes of goblins there. That's lovely. Another Nightstalker 4. So Justin is a very good player. And actually, he won the event with this army. I seem to recall he won the event. It's almost as if Nightstalkers are still very, very good. It's a pretty cool Cthulhu. I don't know what he used it as a Void Lurker, maybe? I didn't do well enough to fight him, so we won't find. Guess I'll never know. They're pretty cool battling. I really liked this force because it's Romans. I just think people that bring Roman armies are cool. Maybe I'm just a child. Yeah, Romans I like. Who doesn't like Romans? Am I right? Here's Seb. I really like Seb. Such a nice chap. And this is League of Rordia. They're in candy pink colours. Very cool. Oh, I liked his. He's taking this Rordia. Okay, he uses some of these as a halfling force as well. In which case he's a lot more pink in there, I think. I know what Latin means. Tienes el cerebro de un orco. You have the brain of an orc. Nice. These are John, brilliant guns, also from Moonrakers, and these is his Order of the Dark Green Lady. Sad I didn't play John, because when you play John, you get a little token, like a little character thing, which is cool. Sometimes, it doesn't always give them that. But. And these are Max's Ogres. We've already seen this. You don't want to see it. No one wants to see this, right? Garbage. Terrible human. Anyway. And here's my... I love these bases. I know lava bases have been done. I know. I get it. I just think these ones are really nicely done. They're lovely. Very, very cool. Thematic. Oh, these ones are Danny's... I don't know what the other one was. Thank goodness what the other one was. This is Danny's Forces of the Abyss. He's only just finished something. I think it's very subtle. This army it doesn't jump off the table at you. When you look at it quite closely, it is very, very nicely, tastefully done, very themed. It's a beautiful army. I think it's great, really good. That's the end. Right, that's the end of this battle report. I hope you enjoyed it. One question I didn't ask is, are my goblins any good? Is my list any good? And the answer to that question is, I have no idea with regards to this particular tournament, because let's have a look at the results. I smashed it in 2 games. I got a 22 and a 24 out of a map of 24. However, the first game was against someone playing an army he'd never played before, and he was the ringer, and also TOing at the same time. And the other one was against a pretty new player who didn't even know what goblins did. And then in the game that I had against a very experienced player, I got absolutely trashed. So is my army any good? I have no idea. I guess I'm just going to have to play it a few more times and find out. My feeling in it is that at 1995 it struggles to quite have the overwhelming firepower and or manpower, goblin power, gungan power, to do what it needs to do. At 2300, when you can have another war engine, another character, there's, wing it. What you're adding then is a little bit more resilience into your shooting or to your kind of your backup, right? So I think at 1995, I think this army struggles, despite the apparently good result. So yeah, that's my opinion. Anyway, we shall see you next time. Take care. Love you all. Bye.